Hi, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
And we are Working Class Nerds.
Where the podcast gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Thursday, March 8th, 2018.
This is episode 7, the review of Thor Ragnarok.
You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Buzzsprout. Hopefully we get it on some more, but we'll get there when we get there. And if you like it, please leave us some stars or a review. It can help us get found. So, Nick, how was your past couple weeks?
Well, last Thursday, so a week ago, I had 3 exams. So, needless to say, from the time of our last episode's recording until that Thursday, I was pretty much just studying for those 3 and doing other schoolwork.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was not a fun week. Then this past weekend, most recent weekend, was my weekend to work, so I was working the whole weekend.
Any scissors?
No scissors this week. It's actually relatively calm and quiet, which was nice. So yeah, no video games this weekend. And then earlier this week, we've had some large amounts of snow up in the Northeast, and my girlfriend came up to get snowed in and hang out. And obviously, when she's there, I'm not going to be playing large amounts of video games because it's not really fair to her, and blah blah blah. So, long story short, I didn't really get an opportunity to play a lot of games this week. But half because I was busy, half because once you finish a game, like I finished Shadow of War, like I talked about before. Once you finish a game, it's kind of hard to jump immediately right into another one.
So true.
I spent like 60 hours, which is a pretty good amount of time. Not, some games I've spent 500 hours on, but
sure,
60 hours is a decent amount, and that's a lot of energy and focus to expense in the to then shift right back into a second game. It's kind of tough to do on a short time schedule.
Well, I remember playing Mass Effect 2 and even Mafia 2. I remember even Grand Theft Auto 4. I played so much for so long. And then when I finished the game, I took a break.
Yeah.
Because I tried, I don't remember, let's say the blah, blah, blah game.
Sure.
Right afterwards, and I would play it for 20 minutes. I'm like, this isn't that game.
Right.
Because I just loved a game for 60 hours, 40 hours, whatever it was. Or, even, I'm going to bring it back to Call of Duty. I feel like I'm that guy that always goes back to those moments.
Yeah.
But I mean, I put days into Call of Duty.
Yeah, sure.
Days.
It's like me with Skyrim, or me with Fallout 3, or me with Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
Those are like my favorite games ever.
I heard they're making another Fallout game.
No, they made 4. Fallout 4 is already out. Been out for a couple years now. But, no, I think the next game that Bethesda's going to make is, I think it's a new intellectual property. It's not an Elder Scrolls game or Fallout. It's something else.
Wow.
But I don't know what to do with that is.
Well, let's see how that goes. But back to the snow. Oh my God. I think there's nothing worse in this world than March snow. Because you're like...
April snow.
Yeah, well, exactly. But, the days are starting to get longer, and you're like, oh, soon.
Finally.
T-shirts, shorts.
Yeah, it's on the horizon.
Adidas sandals.
I think earlier this week, before I realized we were about to get bombarded with snow, I actually was like, oh my God, it's 4:30, and the sun's still out. Yeah. I was walking out of class or something, and I was like, I can't believe this. It's actually light out. I don't feel like I need to go to bed in an hour, know? And then
I'm with you.
We got 8 inches of snow, and those feelings quickly went out the window.
Well, this morning, we got, 9 or 10 inches. It was like the heaviest snow of my life.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I went to start the snowblower. It started.
No.
I took 2 steps out of the garage.
Something broke?
It just doesn't turn on.
Jesus. Is it a new snowblower, or is it an old?
It's an older one, but the thing's tip-top.
Huh.
The thing's a beast.
Yeah, normally.
Except today. So
the one day you really need it.
Yeah, 6 a.m. I was shoveling 10 inches of snow of the heaviest shit in the world, and it sucked.
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So obviously you alluded to the snow you were shoveling earlier today. But
terrible.
How have the rest of your past 2 weeks been?
Well, it's been kind of crazy. I think I say that every week. So in work news, I've signed the papers and now have a new shop. It's a really big step for me, and the new location is going to be the best place for a guy like me. There's foot traffic. I'm going to be on the ground level, where my old shop was in the basement, so you had to walk down a ramp off of a loading dock,
Yeah.
which was an awesome shop. And, my shopmate there was awesome in every way. We got along great. We built some awesome stuff together. But, it was just time for me to move on and get my own space. So I'm really excited for that.
Sure.
And then with the new shop brings new tools.
New tools?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So, I don't have everything for a shop. Well, I just invested a bunch of money and got some shop tools. I'm hoping to be in the shop fully operational April 1st.
That's soon.
The shop is codenamed the Death Star because in 3 weeks it'll be fully operational.
That is awesome.
I'm trying to find a big, 1 foot Death Star vinyl sticker for the window of the shop and stick it in the corner so, it'll always be codenamed Death Star.
It's got to be somewhere.
Well, no, it will be. No,
Yeah.
there's no question.
I think Amazon
It
or somewhere.
will
I'm sure you can get it custom printed too.
And so this is to test all the listeners. I have a free giveaway.
Oh.
So first one to direct message me on Twitter at MarcusB814. You direct message me your message, code name Nick Goes to Yukon, and I will mail you some stickers because we got some stickers made.
Well, that's true.
Nick Goes to Yukon.
And that's direct message Marcus at
MarcusB814 at Twitter.
Awesome.
So that was my work. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about SOTOR. So in SOTOR news, this is my own personal stuff. 2 weeks ago, my Sunday night ops team went to Dread Palace. And
can I cut in real quick?
Yeah.
What is Dread Palace?
So there was a storyline of these evil Sith Lords called the Dread Masters.
Okay.
And there's 5 of them. And you have to go into their house of... It's almost like their Jedi council.
Okay. Yeah, so this is before the most recent operation.
Oh, yeah.
This is an older operation?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So I've always wanted to do it. I've done it maybe once or twice. And so we did it. And it was really fun to do that. And then on the same night, we were talking about another operation called the Temple of Sacrifice, where you fight Darth Revan at the end.
Whoa.
And how I've never beaten the third boss in the operation called the Underlurker. So the Underlurker, it's a DPS race and a healing check. So the healers need to be on point to start. And then I think it's 7 minutes to enrage time, which enrage time means everybody dies. You're not beating the boss once he enrages.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how else to explain the enrage timer. I guess it's once you hit that timer, he gets triple as strong as he is.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you have to beat him beforehand, otherwise you...
Yeah, and I don't even... It might be only 6 minutes.
Right.
It's an insane amount of time. So anyway, we were talking about it, and the other raid teams that I've been on, we've gotten down to 4%, but that was it. And we die and die and die and die.
Yeah.
It's really, you really need to be coordinated. You have to kill all the ads that come in, all the additions that come in. They do a crazy area of effect that, you're constantly getting damaged by them. Mm-hmm. So you have to kill them right away. It's crazy how hard this one boss fight was. So anyway, we did that. And then, I've done that so many times and died. Mm-hmm. So it's been the Thorn or the Unicorn. The Underlurker
your big great white whale, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. So one of our teammates, Dr. SOTOR, which he's going to be on our podcast in 2 weeks, said he could get our team through it. And the next day, somehow I got an invite from his Monday night ops team from his own guild. And guess where they're going? Temple of Sacrifice. Yep. and I'm calling it planned, but I'm still saying that he had it all planned out for me to go. But either way, so he wrote me into going to do it, which we killed the Underlurker, and I got so excited that I jumped up out of my chair, screaming at the top of my lungs. The dog kind of barked, and it was just so much fun because when you work so hard for so long to do something,
Yeah.
because when you have 8 people together, 8 people need to coordinate to beat this boss.
Yeah, and you have to all be synced
the whole
up.
operation, right? And you're relying on everybody around you. It's not just you,
Right.
I'm going to compare it to like Shadow of War. It's
Sure.
just you. You're
Right.
going around, and you have a battalion of
Yeah, but they're AI characters. They're not
exactly
real people.
right.
Yeah.
I have 7 other guys around me that are relying on my 2 lightsabers to do something, just like I'm relying on another guy to keep my ass alive.
Right. Sure.
So anyway, we did that, and then there was the next boss fight, which was there were 3 different bosses, Dano Curse and somebody else. Again, I've never seen that, so I can't really tell you what they were called. We did not get past them. It was late. A couple of the members were falling asleep. I was too, but it was my first time with the team, so I wasn't going to complain about that.
Right.
So either way, we did that, which again, oh man, all I can say is wow, because it was a great team. They were all awesome to hang out with, and they really seemed to know what they were doing. And we got to beat the Underlurker. So 2 weeks ago, my Wednesday night team, we did the Eternity Vault, which was the group finder for the day. Which is the group finder is basically they pick one operation every day, and if you complete that operation, you get extra bonuses.
Sweet.
For beating it. So we did that. The Eternity Vault is one of the originals from the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're all kind of new to me because I just started doing operations a year ago, or maybe even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Maybe 2 years.
No, maybe a year and a half.
Year and change or something?
Yeah, something. I don't know. Anyway. So then we started another op called Explosive Conflict, which it's one of the toughest operations in the game, in my opinion, just because there's a few mechanics to the op that are tough. But either way, we started that, and then it was the end of the night. This week, my Sunday night team, we did the Gods from the Machine in preparation for the new boss, Isaacs, that's coming. We'll get into that in a little bit. We had a few hiccups, but nonetheless, we got it done. Then I went back with the Monday night team, Dr. Sotor's team, and we went back to the Temple of Sacrifice, and actually, they had a guy fill in, and we one-shotted every boss. And I finally beat that up. I'll tell you, Nick, I want to go back.
And redo it?
Yeah, because one time getting through isn't enough.
Yeah. And
it just shows that with the right coordination, anything's possible, and I guess enough repetition.
Right.
Because really, these guys clearly have done it a ton. So it was really, really fun to do that with them. But let's see, what else did I do? On Wednesday night, last night, we did Explosive Conflict, that one we started last week. Mm-hmm. There's a minefield in the middle of the... it's essentially the third boss.
Okay.
So one guy has to stand on a platform, and picture a grid, and you have to click on these things, these grid spots, and it's a minefield, and when they're green, you can walk in them. When they're red, you can't.
Yeah.
And then when you can't click anymore, the guy up on the panel has to find this crazy droid that comes in, and he's super tough to beat.
And the guy has to one-on-one him?
No, the whole team takes him because everybody on the team is in the minefield, but one guy is on the platform controlling the board.
Okay, yeah.
So he summons this droid, and once we get that, we essentially get the mine unlock key to be able to disarm the next mine. So you have to make it through this whole minefield.
With the puzzle.
Correct. It's like, and then at the end, you still have a boss to fight.
Oh my god.
So it's really tough.
Yeah.
And really coordinated because that droid has this cleave hit that kills everybody. And he enrages after a minute.
So you have to kill him within a minute, basically.
I think it's a minute, but yeah, you have to kill him really fast because then he enrages and hits twice as hard. And then, we would lose a tank. And then once you're down a guy, it's going to be really tough to get through.
Yeah.
Because you can't really revive anybody if you move forward because you may not be able to go back and get them.
Right.
In the minefield.
Right,
so, either way, after a few wipes, we got it done. Shout out to those guys because that was fun. I want to give a big shout out to Rack Evan. He's been crafting me my 236 augments. Big thank you for that, because more power is better.
Sorry, I got to interrupt you for a second. So on our show notes, I've heard you say Rack Evan before.
Oh, it looks like Race Van.
It looks like Race Van. And you have all caps, big shout out to Race Van. And I'm thinking like, I don't know, some Evel Knievel looking guy that jumps a work van over a bunch of buses or something.
A friend of mine, he calls my work van the party wagon.
The party wagon?
And the back of it, when it's empty, is the dance floor. So, either way. So
that's sweet.
I want to take a minute to congratulate all of the guys in the AIE Guild and SOTOR. They really stepped it up this week in Conquest. They made it 4th place on the Conquest board on the Imp side and Pub side. Big shout out to Spicoli and Skakik for putting up huge numbers for the guild. Conquest is basically you invade a planet and you do a bunch of things to gain points.
Okay.
And everybody has a personal target to hit. Let's say it's 20,000 points. Mm-hmm. But these guys were putting in millions of points.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane this week. And so the top 10 guilds make the board. And there's some really, really big guilds that's all they do.
Yeah.
I think the first place guy got 30 million points or something.
Wow.
And, we had 11. But we had 4. So just getting on the board in the top 10 is an accomplishment.
Sure.
To get to 4th place is like
unbelievable.
Huge. Yeah.
Wow.
So
congrats.
Yeah. I don't do any of that.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to. I guess it's.
Yeah, you have your hands full with the ops.
I was just gonna say, when I'm in game, I seem like all I do is do operations.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but if this sounds sweet and you want to play SOTOR with a guy like me and my awesome guildies on the Starforge server, we are in the AIE Guild. You can go to aie-guild.org or in game /cjoin AIE LFO, and you can find one of our officers to get us in, and then you can get our Discord and say, hey, invite us in. Invite me into this game, please. We really want to play with you, and we would love to have you. So, oh boy, here we go.
Take a deep breath. Mark has got a lot of notes for our
in
recap this week.
SOTOR news, game update 5.8 is coming. It was supposed to be March 12th, but I just got the notification that it has been delayed a week. So 5.8, its new target is now March 20th, 2018. The reason Keith gave us this delay, it's just not ready. Based on internal testing for the PTS, which is the public test server, people are trying out the new boss, Isaacs, I'm guessing. I guess he needs some more tuning, which I'm happy they're delaying it a week. I don't mind waiting an extra week for something, or even 2 weeks or 3 weeks for something, because I would much rather something be right when it comes out.
Yeah, and perfect and bug-free and all the
exactly, or
work right.
Ready for me to go in it, because we do story mode, which is, normal mode.
Yeah.
And if it's not right for it and it's uber hard or uber easy, they want to make sure it's balanced.
Yeah, sure.
So,
challenging, but not impossible.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that unfortunately means game update 5.9 will also be delayed one additional week, and its new target release date is moved from April 24th to May 1st, 2018. Mm-hmm. So,
during my finals week.
Well, it's a good thing you don't play Star Wars, because if you did,
that'd be a problem.
Yep. So, and I'm going to give a quick overview of what it is. In Game Update 5.8, also known as Command Authority, is expected to bring the final boss of the Iokath operation, Isaacs, a massive conquest revamp and returning companions for the Agent and Inquisitor, plus a long-awaited Arkan romance. If you kept him alive, of course. You can now romance Arkan. Well, guess what? Arkan's dead. For me.
Sure.
Nobody is romancing that guy, because it would be weird to romance a dude that's dead.
Yeah, that's necrophilia, and that's pretty wrong on a lot of levels.
So, also too, in Game Update 5.9, entitled The Nathema Conspiracy, will introduce a new flashpoint on Anathema and the conclusion of the Traitor story arc that started with the War for Iocath back in 5.2. Also, a new set of augments will be released to help players defeat Isaacs in Veteran Mode, which will be live. Which will be live Nightmare level difficulty. So really, truly, Veteran Mode is Master Mode, which is the hardest difficulty, and more returning companions in the face of Felix, Mako, and Akavi, which we've already talked about. And then, so there's a bunch of Conquest updates to the system. Just kind of points of interest. We all have strongholds. They're kind of like our apartments.
Yeah,
and
each individual player does.
Correct.
Yeah.
So basically, you got 25% per apartment or stronghold when it was filled to 100%. The 100% had to be done, and you ended up filling the thing so much it was just full of chairs.
Yeah.
Or full of posters. So it wasn't really decorated the way you would have your house decorated. It would almost look like a hoarder lived there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to get that stronghold bonus. But they're changing that. So the stronghold bonus still applies, but has been changed. Each owned stronghold counts for a 25% bonus and up to the max of 150%. Sorry to all of you stronghold full of chairs owners out there. And weekly conquests are no longer on a set schedule and will be randomly selected each week. The exception to this rule is that conquests that coincide with reoccurring events will still be on a set schedule, such as the Gree event, the Rat Ghouls, the Bounty Contract Week, stuff like that.
Right.
But there's a bunch of other stuff, but, I don't really conquest. It's actually pretty awesome for me and for everybody else, because now maybe if, Ops will give me conquest points towards my personal goal, I might do it. Or I'll continue to do it and I'll be able to contribute, but I don't really do it. Maybe I should. The other thing that's awesome is now with Conquest, you're going to get XP, CXP, and credits.
So you have regular XP. CXP is the sort of end game XP, correct?
Correct.
And then credits are obviously money to buy stuff.
Yep. And then this past Tuesday, let's see. It was 5 game update 5.7b. They corrected an issue which was preventing the distribution of the Chiefs Talent Interceptor and the Force Veterans Armor Set. I'll get to that in a minute. And they fixed the backfilling into a ranked Warzone match, which no longer will provide bonus rating. So first is they decided to do subscriber rewards. So if you were subscribed between this date and this day of a month, you got a new mount, which is a new vehicle of some sort, and you got a free armor set, which was pretty sweet. I got it. I like the car. It kind of looks like a sidecar for Star Trek, in my opinion.
I don't even know what that is. A sidecar?
Yeah,
when you say a sidecar, I think of
the motorcycle. Thing. Yeah, like a motorcycle. Like it looks like that, but like a spaceship version.
Oh, okay. It's like a small one.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
So that was really nice. I didn't really get a chance to look at the Force Veterans armor set, but it was good. I'm glad they're doing these subscriber rewards. I think it's important for any game that you pay a subscription to give your players something other than just the game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it has to be every single month.
Right.
But why not give us something else just to say thanks?
Sure.
And give us something in game that we can use rather than just taking our $15 and allowing us to play the game.
Right.
Backfilling into a ranked Warzone match will no longer provide a bonus. So basically, picture playing something multiplayer and you're matchmaking and you're doing ranked.
Yeah.
So in the ranked match, if I rage quit and you backfill, you're probably going on to a team that's getting its butt kicked.
Oh, right.
They were giving you a bonus. Well, somehow, some way, somebody was exploiting that. How you can do that is beyond me.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know that either.
I have no idea.
You'd have to somehow know which server you're getting into and pick which games and stuff like that.
I really have no idea.
Because that is far and wide beyond my scope of technological knowledge.
Right. So, either way, they're going to fix that, and it doesn't provide a bonus, which I don't really see a big deal with it, because I don't do ranked PvP.
Right.
Because people are pretty toxic in there. And
yeah, I get you.
I don't really feel like listening to somebody tell me I stink because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I accidentally hit the ranked button. I don't understand why people have to be so toxic in a game.
Right.
But, and happier news, I was on OtiniCast last week.
What?
Yeah, I joked and said it was like dream come true, but a couple things, like we record in my basement this podcast, and that was live, so me being live in the camera, in my opinion, I looked all flush and nervous, and I'm usually not a nervous kind of guy. At all, actually.
Yeah, I thought you looked nervous, too. I'm like, oh my god, Marcus is shaking in his boots.
Yeah, but, it was so much fun. It was great to talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic. I know I talk about it on here all the time. But really, truly, it was really fun. Chill and Tio were awesome. I hope I contributed to their conversation about the game, and I was a good guest for them.
Yeah. It sounded. I liked it. I listened to the whole thing. I watched a little bit of it and then went back and listened to the audio recording later. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for sure.
I still think I sound like an idiot.
I think everyone thinks they sound like an idiot.
I know, whatever your voice sounds like through your skull.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your skull makes it sound a lot deeper when it hits your ears because your cochlea and your whole eardrum and all the auditory bones and stuff like that are encased in bone.
I don't understand
I think that might have went right over your head.
It definitely did. But thanks again, Tio. Thanks again, Chill. I would love to do it again. I really had some fun.
So, do you want to take a break now?
Yeah, sure, man.
So when we come back, we'll be discussing Thor Ragnarok.
Spoilers!
And we're back. So this episode is all about Thor Ragnarok.
What up?
So obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, we'll see you next episode.
Spoilers!
Because we're going to be talking about the...
Spoilers!
Sounds like a whole lot of...
Spoilers!
Hoopla!
Yeah, like Nick said, if you haven't seen the movie, please shut this off. And remember, Nick goes to Yukon.
You can't give the plug twice. All right, well, anyways. So overall thoughts... I thought it was a really fun and frivolous movie. Initially, I was a little taken aback at how lighthearted and there's a lot of comedy in it. At first, the comedy was kind of like, oh, okay, come on, like whatever, because I didn't know what to expect going into the movie. I didn't really watch a lot of trailers or anything like that. I just sat down and watched it with Marcus. But I thought it was great. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's just really lighthearted, lots of fun, lots of action. Marcus, what are your overall thoughts, just initially?
I enjoyed it. I watched the first two Thor movies. I enjoyed them. First one was serious. Second one was dark. This one was really fun. I compare it to almost, if you like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies,
yeah,
it kind of brought the comedy from that movie, those movies, I guess I should say, to this, and it was great. The only question I have is, where did the Hulk come from?
Well, I think...
But we're jumping into it too far.
No, I don't think so. I think we can hop right into it. I mean, well, the beginning of the movie, it starts with Thor just in a weird predicament. At the end of... Well, let's talk about Hulk. So at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron, I think the Hulk is in that ship, the Avengers ship, I forgot the name of it, but they're stealth fighter thing that they fly around in. And he's just, flying off into wherever, and they don't know where he's going. He just, warps into wherever.
See, I didn't even remember that until you said it.
I didn't really either, but that scene where Natasha comes in on the little screen in the ship and, pulls Banner out of the Hulk.
The Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah. I think her first name's Natasha something.
Yeah, it is.
Romnikov? I'm going to butcher it. But anyways.
Romikov.
Yeah. She, so that's where you leave Hulk, and then it turns out that he gets teleported onto this scrap planet that Thor ends up onto later.
But we'll get there in a minute.
Right. So at the beginning of the movie, you find Thor dangling over some lava pit with some lava demon because he was looking for the Infinity Stones and couldn't find them.
So my question is, Justice League, maybe? It kind of felt like they were pulling from the same tree.
What do you mean?
With the Steppenwolf guy from...
oh, yeah. Yeah.
The same kind of antagonist.
Well...
I'm going to kill your land and I'm going to take over and...
Yeah, well, this demon guy, Sulfa something. What's his name? Sorry. I should know that quicker. Yeah, Surtur. Surtur is this demon, and he looks a lot like Steppenwolf, except he's more lava-y. But that's not the main antagonist. The main antagonist is Hela.
No, it's just how we were introduced to the movie.
Oh, yeah. I think Steppenwolf and this Surtur guy got the same amount of backstory. And Steppenwolf was the main villain
in Justice League.
Justice League.
But Thor was wrapped up in a chain, and they were talking, and
he was
face to face, and it was so cheesy.
So cheesy. Yeah, that was the first bit of comedy.
I laughed because he was spinning around in the chain,
and he's facing away from him. He's like, "Hang on one sec,
hang on," and you hear the chain going. Ee! Okay, I'm back. Please explain. And and the Surtur guy is.
Explaining how he's going to conquer Asgard and stuff,
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, go ahead."
Right.
As he's spinning around in the chains. But yeah, I thought it was really cheesy, and I thought it was almost I know Thor Ragnarok. I think it came out before the new Star Wars movie or close to it, but it was sort of like Poe talking to that general in the new Star Wars movie. Same type of deal, like just sort of secondhand awkward type of comedy right off the bat. But I thought Star Wars did a little better, but I think it was pretty good in this too.
So, seeing that you brought up Star Wars,
Yep,
and Marvel, and we're talking about a Marvel movie.
Oh, I forgot Disney owns both. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you feel as if they're the same movies? Obviously, the plots are different, and obviously all those things are different, but do you feel like...
Same formula?
Yes, because like if you think about the Last Jedi...
Yeah.
There was more comedy in that movie than I think there's ever been in a Star Wars movie. And maybe I'm completely wrong.
No, I think we talked about that too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, are they kind of just all falling into that same pattern?
I want to see how Avengers Infinity War comes out. Because if that's got a lot of comedy too, just like this or like Star Wars, then I'll say, yeah, the formula's there. But... yeah, the Star Wars having a lot of comedy raises a red flag for that they're just all following that same sort of formula. This movie sort of did too. Although this movie had some pretty dark elements too. People got like chopped in half and
I
really
think they
messed
have
up.
to.
Yeah,
it's Thor.
I know
he's bad to the fucking bone.
That's true. Yeah, I thought this. I was like a couple times right in the beginning of the movie. They like swear a lot. They're like shit and ass, and they didn't drop the F-bomb, but they were close to it.
And at first, I was taken back because I'm like, "Oh, this was happening a long time ago," but really, truly, it's happening in the now.
Right.
So he would speak like us and drop fuck and piss and shit
right.
and all that stuff.
Right. He's got that weird Asgardian sort of voice inflection, but he has a normal vernacular.
Right.
But yeah. So then Thor goes back to Isengard. Well, he beats the shit out of this Surtur guy.
Surtur.
Whatever. I'm not sure how you say it.
Surtur.
We're going to Surtur. Goes back to Asgard, sees that Loki has banished Odin and was pretending to be him. They find Odin is in Norway. After Thor beats up Loki a little bit and it's like, hey, where the hell did you put our dad? They go to Norway and...
Whoa. They didn't just go to Norway. Doctor Strange took Loki.
Oh, that's right. It was fucking awesome. Yes, okay. So...
wake the fuck up, Nick. Like, you're supposed to be the movie guy, and I remember that. All of a sudden, Loki disappears, and there's this, like, orange ring, and now I've never seen Doctor Strange, so I'm like, well, that's fucking weird.
That we could do a whole movie on Doctor Strange. I like that a lot. But, yeah, so originally Loki had put Odin in a retirement home, and they go to the retirement home in New York or wherever they are, and it's being demolished. So he's, there's a playful banter. Oh, I left him right here. Ha ha ha. Then they're like, oh shit, what do we do now? And then, yeah, like Marcus said, it's like a manhole opened up underneath Loki, and it was one of Doctor Strange's portals. And he just sucks him away, and Thor's like, what the hell? And then Doctor Strange leaves him a note, come to this location, it's his hub, and they talk, blah, blah, blah.
And he fucked with him completely.
Yeah.
And then Thor was like, all right, dude, where is he? Okay, I'm out of here. And he pulls, and mind you, the whole time he's been in New York City, he's had an umbrella.
All right.
But literally it was his hammer.
Disguised as an umbrella.
And he was like, oh, hold on, Doctor Strange, I'm going to grab my hammer. And it
He holds
smashes
out his
everything
hand.
in his house. He's like, sorry I fucked up your house, but I got to go. But then Loki showed up, and he tried to attack Strange, and Strange put them in Norway.
Right.
With Odin.
Yeah.
At like a pretty awesome like cliff overlooking the water.
Yeah, that was really pretty.
Okay,
cool.
back to your in-depth movie review.
Not so in-depth. Well, I thought it was a cool... Speaking of Norway, I thought it was cool. I don't know exactly where Vikings came from, but I know it's that region of the world. Norway, Finland, Sweden-ish. Ish. Forgive me if anyone from that region knows this better than me, but I thought it was kind of cool that they put Odin in Norway. And then later in the movie, they say Asgard isn't a place, it's a people. And they say, where do you want to set up? And I think they're going back to Earth, but they could set up camp in Norway as an homage to like the Viking people that they're the gods of originally. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, so they find Odin in Norway. Odin essentially tells Thor and Loki that they have a sister. She's an older sister, and she was even more bad to the bone than Thor is, and she's the goddess of death.
And I'm like, where the fuck did she come from?
Right, me too. But then they gave her a pretty good backstory, I thought. They explained, like, she used to be... Like, it used to just be her and Odin. They were conquering the 9 realms. That's how they got control of the 9 realms. And then Odin is like, all right, I'm kind of done doing all this war shit. And Hela's like, fuck that, I'm killing everything. And then he locked her away. So now, apparently, the only thing that was holding her back was Odin's life. So Odin is dying because he's old and Loki's been fucking with him this whole time.
Well, he's dead.
Right, and then he dies. And Hela comes back.
Right. In Norway.
Through
some kind of Doctor Strange portal.
No, that was Hela's own portal. But
Well,
it was
whatever,
the same
but
type
you know
of
what I'm saying.
magic-y thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she comes back and she's like, sup, bros?
And they're like, what the fuck?
And then
they
she
start
crushes.
to fight. Yeah, and right as they start to fight, Thor throws his hammer at her. She catches it and just crushes it in her hand. And Thor's like, as shattered as the hammer is. He's just crushed. And then Loki's like, oh shit, we have no chance against her. Fuck this, get us out of here. Beam me up, Scotty, to go back to Isengard. Wow, that's funny. Asgard.
Lord of the Rings much?
Yeah. So as they get, taken out of there, Hela also gets in the portal, and they're fighting in the portal. Hela throws Loki and Thor out of the portal, and then they end up on the same planet, which is apparently like at the center of all these wormholes. So if you get thrown out of a wormhole type place, you end up at this planet. It's like a big trash heap. Then Thor gets picked up by this scrapper chick.
Well, she was like a scrapper, but she was wasted.
Yeah, she was just hammered the whole time.
Yeah, she just gets out of her ship and she's all like fucking drunk and she falls off of her ship deck. And like these other people were going to kill Thor or take him. I don't know what the fuck they were going to do with him, but
yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, which another point, she was just clearly just wasted the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I thought, thinking about it, it's PG-13, but I'm like, wow, I thought that's a little mature also. You know what I mean? Have somebody just like completely fucked up and it's one of the main characters in the movie.
Well, it's okay for a 13-year-old to hear swears and see that people get drunk now.
Yeah, I know. But I guess I'm so used to like Star Wars Disneyfied, like you wouldn't see somebody like all fucked up and swearing a lot in Star Wars, you know what I mean?
I don't think anybody sweared in Star Wars.
That's what I mean.
But that's 'cause
I was kind of used to like that's not really Star Wars' shtick, you know what I mean?
That's not even really a superhero shtick.
Yeah, they don't really swear in superhero movies-ish.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I think...
So it was so surprising that when I saw that type
they're
of...
bringing that Guardians of the Galaxy comedy aspect to Thor.
Roughness, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of to Thor. Yeah, for sure. So anyways, long story short, the scrapper drunk chick brings Thor in to this main hub area where actually there's civilization and basically makes him a gladiator. She sells him
and he
off.
meets the Grand Master.
Oh, right. Yeah, he meets this Grandmaster character.
Yeah.
On his way to become a gladiator.
What's the actor's name?
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he was the guy that got eaten off the toilet in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think that was him.
Yeah. That's the only way I know who he is.
Are you sure that was him? We might have to look it up.
Yeah.
But that's funny. Yeah, he was in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't get eaten because he's in the next one. I'm pretty sure he's in subsequent Jurassic Parks.
I could have sworn he was taking a poop on the toilet.
Somebody got eaten when they were taking a shit. They
Yeah.
were like freaked out at the T-Rex, ran in the hut, and anyways, this is about Ragnarok. So, yep, he meets the Grandmaster, aka Jeff Goldblum, who runs the whole planet, and he realizes that Loki had gotten there before him and was just like the Grandmaster's best friend. Of course, two sleazy people, they got along great.
Yeah, Loki is still a douchebag in the movie.
Yeah, he's just a douchebag.
I thought he would have changed
through.
Yeah, I thought it would have changed.
I thought there was a cool sort of character arc about Loki just never changing in it. Like, even Thor recognizes, like, oh, you never change. You're always a douche. You always try to fuck me over. And he just expects it at all times.
Right.
And he, like, fucks him up at the end of the movie. It was pretty cool. But, yep, so Loki's there, and he's like, hey, can you help me? Loki says, fuck off. Thor gets thrown into the pit with the other slaves to be a gladiator.
And there was, what was his name? Mordor? Not Mordor. I don't even know his name.
There was,
Mildor?
No, yeah, Malik, or was the little insect dude, and I forgot what the hell the rock guy's name. Oh, Korg.
Korg, yeah.
Korg, the rock guy. He's like, hey, what's up? I'm a slave. I'm starting a revolution. It's my buddy Malik. He's got knives for hands, and he's a bug.
I was like, all right, these guys are all right in my eyes.
Yeah, it was just like the most relaxed greeting for like two slaves that just fight to the death at all times.
And they're like, oh, so you're going to fight the champion? Are you sure you want to do that? He's like, Thor's like, yeah,
Fuck
dude,
yeah,
let's go.
I'm the fucking god of thunder.
And I'm trying to go home.
Right.
And if I beat him, I'm going to go home.
Right. So Thor's taken into the arena, put up against the champion, and it's revealed to be the Incredible Hulk.
Hulk smash!
And he's like, fuck yes! Hulk, what's up, man? It's like, I don't have to fight anybody. This is great. He starts talking to the Grandmaster, and then the Hulk fucks him up.
That's not true.
Well, initially, they fight, and it's back and forth, and then Thor's like, shit, I have to actually
Thor's
fight.
trying the whole time to be like, dude, Banner, I'm your buddy.
Yeah, it's like,
Banner,
hello,
I'm your
wake up.
buddy.
Yeah.
Banner, I'm your buddy. And he's like, Banner not here.
Hulk here.
Hulk here.
Only Hulk.
Hulk smash. And then Thor ends up fucking the Hulk up.
Yeah.
Like,
big time.
big time. Like, the Hulk is a bitch compared to Thor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, any Hulk lovers out there, Hulk is a bitch.
Compared to Thor.
Yeah.
At least in this movie. So, wow, that was awesome. Thor doesn't have his hammer. So he like has a hammer that he like grabs from the Hulk or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a regular.
It's a regular hammer. His big thing that he does, he's obviously super strong. Oh, just about as strong as the Hulk. So they're punching each other back and forth, throwing each other around. And then Thor gets really mad and actually channels his lightning powers. Finally, so he's like, "No, I'm the God of Thunder," and shocks the shit out of the Hulk. And then realizes that, and then like. The Grandmaster realizes Thor's going to win and uses this, like, collar, like, implant that he has on him to shock him.
A shock collar.
Yeah, make him lose.
A bark collar.
Yeah, it's basically a human bark collar. Shocks him and makes him lose, and then the Hulk smashes him.
He got tased.
Yeah.
Don't tase me, bro.
He got tased. Exactly. Which is kind of BS, because Thor clearly won. I thought that was cool, and then... Because you expect the Hulk to win. At least I did initially. Especially because Thor didn't have his hammer, you know? I think they had fought... Did they fight in Avengers?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. And, but anyways, I thought that was lame. I was pissed off at the Grandmaster there. Oh, go ahead.
I think, like, the Hulk introduction, I think it was cool to have the Hulk in it.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need him later in the movie, and we'll get there. But having him in as Hulk and saying that Banner's not there,
right,
was kind of cool because it just shows that, you know, in my opinion, that was Hulk's cry for help because he was staying as the Hulk.
Right.
So that was his like defense for being stuck in the situation that he was in.
Right.
Because I feel like if he went to Banner, they would have taken advantage of him.
Right, as Banner. Yeah.
As Banner.
Yeah, he needed to thrive in that like combat environment, being a gladiator, so it was more advantageous to stay as Hulk. And later, once he finally does turn back into Banner, the Hulk... Banner says, yeah, I've been the Hulk for fucking 2 years. So he's been there for 2 years, which is pretty crazy.
Right.
But so after that, it cuts back to Asgard, where Hela, she successfully got transported there, so she beat up, people, and she wants to know where the Bifrost sword is, so she can go continue to conquer other places. And basically, is like trying to execute people. And it doesn't really work. It's just showing like how Hela's conquering Asgard, basically.
Right.
So there's a cool scene where the Hulk speaks to Thor privately. Apparently, the Hulk can speak like really intelligently. Like in the Avengers, he just said like to smash, and that was it. But this, he actually has like a caveman like vocabulary. He's like Hulk smash, or like he could like call
Better
Thor.
gone. Like 2-word answers.
Puny arms.
Yeah, puny arms. Avengers. Strongest Avenger.
Yeah.
He like speaks in 2 words.
Right. He said, it's called a Quinjet is the type of jet that they have.
Right. And then in the process, during that,
banter?
I think it was after that fight or right before that fight, and it just popped into my head, the scrapper that took Thor had that tattoo on her arm, and it just comes to find out that she's a Valkyrie.
Right.
That's the legendary force of female warriors.
From Asgard.
Yeah, from Asgard. They're Asgard warriors, but they're female warriors.
Right.
I guess they're different than the Asgardian warriors.
Right, sort of like Marvel's version of Amazonians.
Right.
Ish.
So, I can't remember. What happened to... So they fought, and then I remember Thor wakes up in the room, and how...
It's like Hulk has his own little like apartment complex, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's the champion. He's got a hot tub. He gets out naked, and Thor's freaking out like, Jesus, put some clothes on.
But that brings me back to that comedy side of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, though.
It was, but it's just...
So much comedy where
otherwise comedy.
You might not be expecting it. Yeah.
Right. So...
It's an interesting formula. I think it kind of it worked here pretty well, the general comedy theme, because the whole movie is lighthearted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The plot is like just good enough for you to suspend disbelief, and it's mostly just like, okay, we're throwing characters that you know and like together, and it's a lot of action with some comedy built in. It's just like a really fun feel to it. But so then, he meets the Valkyrie at Hulk's apartment basically, and she helps him escape to get to the jet, but the Hulk follows him and is like, hey, don't leave, I don't want you to leave, and he ends up like destroying half the jet, and that's when a message from Black Widow pops up, and it's the last message to Banner and the Hulk, saying like, hey, stop flying the ship, blah blah blah. That's before he warped into hyperspace or whatever, and that triggers him to turn into Bruce Banner.
Right. And then they have to go into hiding in the little trash city.
Right, because they
got to find a ship to get out of there.
Right.
But I guess when Thor was knocked out, he had that vision of Odin, if you remember. And he was like, that whole planet has portals. Go through the biggest one.
Oh, right. Yeah, he has a... Yeah, exactly. When Thor was knocked out, he had like a dream, basically, talking to Odin, who's dead. Saying, go through the biggest portal, and that's how...
And he's like, I don't have my hammer. And Odin's like, don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
You're the god of thunder.
You don't need a fucking hammer. The hammer was to help you.
Right. And, and then, don't forget, Thor loses his eye.
No, he loses his eye fighting,
Hera.
Hela, I thought.
Hela, yeah.
I thought that was a little bit later.
I'm not sure.
That was later. That was at the last fight, I think. Back when they're on Asgard. But, so basically, they're escaping, they're fugitives now at this point since Thor apparently stole the champion.
Right, and the Grandmaster hires Loki and the Valkyrie
to look for him.
To find him, and he's like, you guys have an hour.
Go.
So
now when the Valkyrie and Loki are alone, they ended up talking and ended up fighting with each other, of course, because Loki's just continuing to be a douchebag. And Loki...
That's all he is.
Yeah, he's losing the fight. It ends up he's touching the Valkyrie's head and bringing back all of her horrible memories, which is why she's been drinking this whole time, because Hela, way back when, massacred all of the Valkyrie, because Odin sent the Valkyrie to keep her under control when she wanted to continue on the warpath, and Odin didn't. So he's like, okay, shut down Hela, and she massacred all the Valkyrie except for this one. So this Valkyrie ended up just running away and ending up on this planet, and Loki gave her all of her bad memories back. And this triggers her to say, fuck this, why am I staying here working for the Grand Master? I'm going to go help Thor. So
I think she secretly wants to bone him.
I got some sexual tension there too, for sure.
Oh my god, and I didn't even, in the beginning part of the thing, when Thor and Loki are in New York City, those two girls were like, hey Thor, can we take a selfie with you? And he's like, sure. Sorry Jane dumped you. And he's like, Jane didn't dump me, I dumped her. And we were like, yeah, right, but it was more comedy.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically Thor Loki tries to betray Thor. That doesn't go well, blah, blah, blah.
But they all get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, Thor, Banner, and the Valkyrie steal the orgy ship.
But don't forget, before... Oh, no, where's the revolution happen? No, Loki's not there.
Yeah.
Loki betrays Thor on the scrap planet. Then the Thor and the Valkyrie leave with Hulk.
Yeah, with Banner. He hasn't turned into the Hulk
No,
yet.
and then they get back to Asgard, and it's hell.
Right.
And they try to save the people.
All fucking everything up.
Right, and they try to save everybody, and that's when Loki shows up with that giant-ass ship.
Right.
All the gladiator people.
That wanted to do a revolution anyway. That's how he got off. And they meet up in Asgard. So then Loki, Thor, the Valkyrie, Banner as the Hulk, they all are fighting Hela and her forces in Asgard now. And that is where Thor loses his eye. Hela stabs him in the eye, and it's the same eye that Odin has lost. So he ends up, at the end of the movie, looking a lot like Odin. But
and then in order to stop Hela, they had to get that helmet from Soltar, or whatever his name was.
Oh, right. And power him up, basically. Bring back Soltar.
Put it in the eternal flame.
Right.
Because they couldn't stop Hela because she was too strong in Asgard.
Right.
She's unstoppable.
Right. She's unstoppable in Asgard. She draws all of her power from that place, that ethereal plane that is Asgard. So they had to say, okay, sure, Soltar, you want to go ahead and fuck up Asgard? Feel free. They take his crown thing that they had taken earlier in the movie, throw it in some eternal fire. He comes back. He's like as big as a mountain and just rampages and beats Hela. So then,
all the people that were saved with Hyman. What was the guy's name that opens the portal? Hyman.
Oh, it's Heimdall.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, they were looking for Heimdall. Heimdall shows up and helps them out big time.
And he was saving all the people.
Right, the actual people of Asgard.
Correct, and that's when Loki shows up. They're on that bridge, and they're loading the people in while Thor the Valkyrie, the badass gladiators, and the Hulk.
Yeah, they're all fighting Hela and her forces.
Yeah,
that's where Thor loses an eye. And they end up beating Hela with the help of that Soltar demon thing that they unleashed, and then they all get off the planet on that big ship Loki had brought.
Right, and then they're like, oh, things are looking pretty good, and boomba, there's like a ship.
Oh, well, that's not the end of the movie. So that's right after. That's the credit scene.
Oh.
But basically, that's how the movie ends. They're sailing away. They end up going to, I think they're going to Earth, bringing all of Asgard back to Earth.
Right.
And Loki's like, are you sure you want to go to Earth? Blah, 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 whatever. And Thor takes over in Odin's spot as the leader of the Asgardian people. So that's how the movie ends. And then sort of mid credits scene after like the really animated credits. Loki's talking about Thor, why you want to go back to Earth. Loki knows that he's not going to be very welcome there since he tried to take over last time he was on Earth. In the first Avengers movie.
Right.
Thor's like, it's fine, and then it pans out to this gigantic ship that you don't know what the hell whose ship it is. I thought maybe it was like Thanos' ship or something because it's kind of gold colored. I don't know anything about ship architecture.
Well, what's the next movie to come out?
Infinity War.
And that comes out in April.
Yes. No.
April 26th.
Yes. It was going to be May, but now it's April.
They pushed it up a few weeks.
Which is pretty cool.
Or a month.
No, it was like a week because it was May 4th, and now it's April 27th or something like that.
How can you release a movie on May 4th? That's Star Wars Day.
Right. That was a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the actual end credit scene was just cheesy. It was the Grandmaster like having crashed, and then like a bunch of slaves come out, and he's like, good job on your revolution. It was a tie, but like they're gonna kill him. So that was cheesy. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. It was a good segue into Infinity War. And when, at the end of the movie, towards the end of the movie, when Loki's going to find that crown that resurrects Surtur, he goes into the throne room of Asgard, and he actually knocks over the Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
While he's going by, and then sees two of the Infinity Stones. And you kind of see him stop and look at the Tesseract like, And I think it's implied that he takes it with him.
I would.
Because how else? Because Asgard's destroyed at the end of this movie. So the only way that the Infinity Gauntlet could be brought into Earth or somewhere relevant for the next movie is that he stole it. And it's like, I can use this later.
Well, of course he stole it. He's a douchebag.
Right.
I think we should call this episode Douchebag. Because we've said it so many times today, or I have. Okay, final thoughts.
Final thoughts, if you're looking for a fun superhero movie, lighthearted, lots of action, lots of your favorite characters getting together and having a good old time, definitely watch this movie.
I agree. I don't watch a lot of movies, and that was an enjoyable watch.
Yeah.
I wasn't yawning through the whole thing. I was captivated by it because it made it lighthearted enough to where I could enjoy it, but the story was good enough to where it kept me sucked in.
Right.
I would say watch it for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely 10 out of 10 would recommend to a friend.
I wouldn't give it a 10, but
no,
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.